Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Bruce Frisco. It is Tuesday, the 25th day of August, and this is CTV News. Tonight, assessing the impacts. Maritime businesses calculate tariffs and counter tariffs. Food for thought. Grocery prices are finally dropping, but not for long. And a coaching legacy. A celebrated soccer coach calls it a career.
Live from our Maritime's News Center, this is CTV News. Here is Bruce Frisco.
Good evening. As you've doubtless heard today, the federal government today revealed a lengthy list of counter tariffs on billions of dollars worth of U.S. exports, things like smartphones and appliances. There was also news of financial support for business. Here at home, New Brunswick's premier says she's still deciding the best course of action. CTV's Anna Mandan kicks off our coverage.
Retailers. While the federal government has outlined its retaliation plan, New Brunswick's premier is still weighing her options, including using energy exports to the United States.
Things would have to get really bad because that's an extremely serious measure to turn the power off to a community in northern Maine that have been our friends and neighbors for generations.
Instead, the Holt government is considering other, less severe options to respond to President Donald Trump's tariffs. Everything from not allowing Americans to hunt for moose or fish salmon to no longer sending packaged lobster south of the border. Meanwhile, Holt says early estimates suggest 500 New Brunswick jobs, alongside $112 million in New Brunswick goods, will be affected by U.S. tariffs. The province has money set aside for businesses that will feel the impact, but she's not yet sure whether it will be enough.
We're going to be there to support companies as they need it. So if we go through the funds that are currently put aside, and that requires us to look at more, then we'll do that.
Canada must respond, and today we are, in a proportionate, targeted, and strategic way.
As the nation responds to what has been a series of unprecedented changes in the Canada-U.S. trade relationship. Anna Mandan, CTV News, Fredericton.
Meantime, the fallout from the expanding trade war has maritime businesses preparing for what may come as best they can. Here's CTV's Nick Moore.
With prospects for a Canada-U.S. trade deal all but dashed for the foreseeable future, Mrs. Dunster's, which is based in Sussex, New Brunswick, has been getting ready for whatever direction the negotiations went.
I've been down to Mexico a few times trying to open up some opportunities down there. And we're also always on the lookout for potential acquisition opportunities. So it's really not about shrinking our U.S. business, because our U.S. business is pretty robust right now, but it's really about making sure we're not overly dependent on it.
Moosehead Breweries in St. John says a decision to target Canadian beer with a 50% tariff creates an immediate and serious challenge. The company says it will not shift production to a U.S. plant to bypass duties. In a statement saying, "We've been selling Moosehead in the U.S. for almost 50 years, and we've built an incredibly loyal American customer base. But navigating a 50% tariff puts a massive burden on our ability to compete fairly in the U.S. market."
Yes, we're at the bottom, obviously. We're into mudslinging. This is not what we planned for.
Ron Marcolin is the Divisional Vice President of Canadian Manufacturers and Exporters and says while the trade deal falling apart in the 11th hour was disappointing, there's a little more predictability in the short term with today's announcement of $7.4 billion in federal support for businesses and workers.
We know the relief measures are very targeted, will help bridge the gap. That's a very good and positive thing. And we also agree with the retaliatory tariffs. We have to do that. We're forced to do that. But it's very important that Canada stands up and does that.
Nick Moore, CTV News, Sussex, New Brunswick.
Get the Maritime's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Nova Scotia RCMP say a recent rescue call they got was very likely a scam. Happened just before 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Crews dispatched after a third-party text message said someone was having a medical emergency on Ingonish Beach. Along with police, EHS, fire, park services, and others rushed out to help. But they gave up after several hours of fruitless searching. Police now believe the entire call was a phony, a case of so-called swatting. They are now focused on finding the person responsible. 60-year-old man has been arrested and charged with burning down a century-old church in the Acadian Peninsula. Gilles Mellet of Saint-Simon was identified by RCMP as a suspect in the arson case that destroyed the historic church in that community near Caracat. Firefighters arrived early yesterday morning to find the building completely engulfed. It took many hours to douse the flames, but the building was lost and 4 others were damaged. Millet remains in custody. He's got a bail hearing scheduled for Friday in Bathurst. We all know every second counts when fighting a fire, so when a Halifax fire truck has trouble getting to a blaze downtown, that does cause some concern.
Eventually, they decided they did need to get their trucks in closer to actually deal with this situation.
Firefighters called to investigate smoke in a restaurant at Argyle Street, but they struggled to get past the pedestrian gate. In the end, the incident was minor, but people in the area admit they were a little concerned by all of this.
It's concerning because for big, fire vehicles, we have a lot of bars and restaurants on the street, and they need to get down here quick. We're very fortunate that the incident at Taipan was so resolved so quickly.
The vetting of the whole street design when it was done in 2016 would have included fire and police and all those other city departments as well. So they did sign off on it at that time.
McKinnon also points out the south end of the closed-off section of Argyle is open. CTV News did reach out to both Halifax Regional Fire and their union for comment, but didn't get a response by news time. There is some good news tonight in an annual report on back-to-school food prices. Dalhousie's Food Lab found the cost of 45 items were lower than they were about a month ago, and prices could continue to drop through the fall. That said, those same prices are expected to increase again before Christmas. Here's CTV's Avery McCrae.
Ask anyone who has been to the grocery store of late, and they will tell you your dollar isn't going as far as it once did.
I mean, a Costco trip we're lucky to make it under $300 now, so used to be $200.
Believe it or not, some food prices have gone down over the last month, according to a new report from the Dalhousie Agri-Food Lab. It found in July a basket of 45 various food items cost $269.51, while that same basket in August is only costing just over $262. That's a drop of 2.8%.
Grocers were very aggressive with promotions, which is certainly good news, and we're expecting the same for September.
Which times well with kids heading back to the classrooms. The report looks deeper into the cost to fill an average school lunch bag and common items found inside to help parents plan for the fall.
We all know that food inflation has actually made a lot of households fall behind a little bit, and just making sure that people have proper tips in order to fill lunch boxes as efficiently as possible.
Outside of orange juice, which is spiking in price, 11 other products have dropped or seen no change in price month over month. Now, those prices do slightly vary around the region. In Moncton, those 12 items would cost a parent $54.99, the second most expensive mark in the country. Charlottetown finds itself in the middle with a cost of $54.29, while Halifax is among the cheapest at just over $52.50. Later this year, grocery prices are expected to rise again due to the holidays and things like produce not being as prevalent due to the changing seasons, among other factors. The biggest of which surrounds the ongoing trade turmoil with Washington, because as Charlebois points out, trades tend to keep food a little bit cheaper. Avery McCrae, CTV News, St. John.
Say what you want about the weather of late, but this is proving to be a pretty good growing season here in the Maritimes. After last summer's drought, conditions have been favorable for bumper crops in fields and orchards. Timely and generous rains have also been especially helpful.
We've had nice, consistent rainfall amounts every few weeks. We've been getting a good rain, which has been great. We're still seeing some trees struggling from last year and the extreme drought conditions that they faced. Overall, we are seeing a big rebound, and we're really, really happy with what we're seeing on the trees.
We love the rain on weekends, especially Sunday. You can have great naps when it's raining on Sunday.
Experts say you can expect to see local apples showing up in stores and markets in 3 or 4 weeks or so. RCMP in northern New Brunswick looking for help in finding a stolen cabin, the actual building. Police say it was taken from a rural road in Kedgwick at the end of June. As you can see, it's got a metal roof and board and batten siding. If the structure has suddenly turned up near your place, police are asking that you give them a call. A trio of Nova Scotia nurses are being lauded for their quick and professional actions in an unlikely place, a plane bound for Toronto. The trio all work at the Valley Regional Hospital. They were on vacation on a commercial flight back in May when a fellow passenger got sick and passed out. The crew asked for medical assistance, and the three sprang into action, relying on their training and experience to help the woman.
It was like a normal afternoon flight. Got on the flight, maybe like 10 minutes into the takeoff, they sent like a request for any nurses or doctors overhead. So Carly and I first initially got up.
When we used the blood pressure cuff that was available to us, we noticed that it was low. When we looked into the medical care equipment, we noticed there was an IV. So we were like, well, there's no harm in inserting an IV and giving her some fluids if she has no medical history. So that's exactly what we did. Where there was no tourniquet, Abby actually made a handmade tourniquet and just put her hands around the patient's arms, and I was able to get an IV, and we initiated 2 500 ml boluses.
I think that we had all kind of realized that being a nurse kind of means you're on call all the time, and it takes a special person to do that. And I think that's why it felt normal to us, because it just did feel like a day at work, and it felt like something that was very natural to us to step up to help her.
The patient, a woman named Malvina Major from Ontario, was rushed to hospital in Toronto. Later wrote a nice thank you letter to the nurses expressing her gratitude. The women say it was an experience they will never forget. Still to come tonight, Caitlin's full forecast, and we'll check out a new wood tick research center that just opened in our region. Coming up next, though, the end of an era.
But the reality is, with the kind of weather we have, the winters we have, they just haven't stood the test of time.
The iconic sidewalks in one maritime city are getting a complete makeover. Details are next. Come on back.
Mornings with Aaron and Peter. Hey, if you like to play the $1,000 Minute, get ready, because we're going to start playing it twice every weekday.
7 a.m. and 8 a.m. every weekday starting in September, the $1,000 Minute.
An iconic feature in downtown Moncton is on its way out. Decades of wear and tear have left the famous red brick sidewalks in the hub city in pretty rough shape. So they're being replaced by something new. CTV's Derek Haggett has more.
They've been a fixture, quite literally, of downtown Moncton for decades. But brick by brick, block by block, the city's sidewalks will change over the next few years. Moncton City Council approved a plan last week to replace the red brick sidewalks.
It's really reached the end of its life cycle. So what we want to do is start replacing blocks of Main Street, and we're looking at a multi-year project.
But the reality is, with the kind of weather we have, the winters we have, they just haven't stood the test of time. And the reality is they've become very uneven. Accessibility is a huge factor today as we have an aging population.
More durable concrete blocks with different shades of color will be installed. Welcome news to many.
It's hard, especially in the winter months when it gets icy and you have any place where it's sloped down, then it's horrendous.
The only problem is with the brick is that if we get freezing rain, it's really slippery.
It's a memory from childhood, but I think it's time. We need to update and make it more user-friendly or walker-friendly.
The project should take 5 to 6 years. Derek Haggett, CTV News, Moncton.
Okay, thank you, Derek. Time for a quick little break. When we return, your complete maritime weather forecast. It's turned into a really nice evening around here. Kaylin Mitchell has your full forecast coming up next. Tuesday night, 25th day of August. Today certainly felt like it's around here again. I think I'm getting close to being done with the humidity. I think I said that last night. I'll say it again tonight.
Well, it's August 25th, so September is just around the corner. And as we move closer towards fall, we know it's more likely that we're going to have some of that crisp air begin to filter into the region.
Yep.
Not over the next couple of days, though. The next couple of days, there's going to still be a lingering bit of humidity. And for tonight, that's going to be taking the form of some fog developing around the Maritimes. Here's a look at a little bit of a visibility forecast where some fog could develop into the start of the day for tomorrow. Most widespread, thickest for parts of Nova Scotia, but some patchy fog also possible for New Brunswick and Prince Edward Island. Now, like this morning, as we move from the morning to the afternoon, that fog's going to be dissipating or retreating to parts of the coast. The sun shines through. The temperatures really warm up. It is going to be a warm day tomorrow around the Maritime region, especially with that little bit of lingering humidity. And like today, there will be a chance of some pop-up showers, maybe a couple of thunderstorms, but tomorrow, the highest chance of that shifts a little bit further east into the region, especially for eastern areas of Nova Scotia and Cape Breton. Taking a look at the winds in the forecast for tomorrow, by the afternoon, they'll be mostly out of the west and northwest. Pretty light, though, sustained between 10 and 20 kilometers per hour. Low temperatures for tonight for Prince Edward Island, southern areas of New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, mostly 15 to 18 degrees. In the north of New Brunswick, between about 10 and 14. In the north of New Brunswick for tomorrow, for the high temperatures, up between 23 and 26. A pretty pleasant day. And down through central and southern areas of the province, the high temperatures about 24 to 27 degrees. Prince Edward Island for tomorrow with high temperatures around 23, 24 degrees, but feeling close to the high 20s with humidity in the air. And in the east of Nova Scotia, most of the high temperatures will be in the low to mid 20s as well, but feeling close to the high 20s and some right around 30. Amherst for tomorrow near 24, 23 for Truro. City centers, Halifax and Dartmouth with high temperatures near 26, 25 at Chester and Lunenburg, as well as many communities in the Annapolis Valley. 23 at Digby, and tomorrow 26 at Liverpool and Shelburne, 21 at Yarmouth and Barrington. Looking ahead, the extended forecast coming up for New Brunswick. So pretty pleasant conditions on both Wednesday and Thursday. Then coming up on Friday, that's when our next weather front arrives, bringing us a chance of some rain and some showers. Now that looks like it's going to be moving through fairly quickly, which leaves us with pretty pleasant conditions for the upcoming weekend. Humidity will be lower on the weekend around the Maritime region, so Bruce will probably like that. Chance of showers after that on Tuesday. Nova Scotia in the forecast coming up on Thursday, a mix of sun and cloud, very warm day. The front on Friday looks like it'll mostly arrive Friday night, bringing the showers with it. That's followed by generally fair weather conditions through the weekend into the start of next week, and then a chance of showers on Tuesday. And for Prince Edward Island in the forecast, pretty fair weather conditions over the next couple of days. The front arriving on Friday brings showers during the evening and nighttime hours. That's followed by a pretty pleasant weekend ahead, highs in the low 20s, and a fair weather start to next week. Bruce.
Sweet relief is
there. You
I
go.
Say. Yeah, for sure. All right, thank you, my friend. Stay with us. We'll be right back with more.
#1 morning show in Halifax. Turk, Megan, and Amateur Alex. And home to the biggest artists. Halifax's #1 hit music station. 101.3 Virgin Radio.
Soon be looking for homegrown solutions to the ongoing wood tick problem. A one-of-a-kind research center right here in our region has just opened up. CTV's Vanessa Wright dropped in.
Carmen Dewar-Miller is no stranger to ticks.
I had a bruise on my leg early in July, and then it just didn't go away. And at the end of the month, I noticed that it had developed a ring around it and went right into Emerge, and they told me, yes, you have Lyme.
Which is why she's excited to know some of the best tick research in the country is being done here in her hometown of Wolfville.
The province of Nova Scotia.
Today, the provincial and federal governments made a combined commitment of nearly $2 million for the Canadian Tick Research and Innovation Center at Acadia University.
We've been hearing the stories of people that have been infected by the various types of ticks that are now prevalent in our communities and the health consequences.
Through some generous donations and government support, we can now produce our own ticks, which is a very weird thing for a president to say, but it is a big step forward for Acadia and for the country.
The center is only one of its kind in the country. Its director says the funding will help researchers better understand ticks found here at home.
They will help to investigate surveillance for understanding better the type of ticks that are in Nova Scotia and in Canada, developing new repellents by studying tick ecology, and looking at new approaches for tick bite prevention.
Any research or any movement towards curing, mitigating the effects of tick-borne Lyme, I'm so excited about.
Vanessa Wright, CTV News.
Thank you, Vanessa. Time for one final break tonight. Coming up, paying tribute to a celebrated Maritime soccer coach. First, though, your wake-up weather. There's a live look at the Confederation Bridge, and this Tuesday evening, 20 degrees and the water almost looks like glass, doesn't it? Stay with us. Kaylin Mitchell's wake-up weather is coming up next. Middle of the week now upon us, Wednesday morning. How should we dress tomorrow morning, do you think?
I think you could probably dress in your usual summer wear for tomorrow morning. The morning temperatures will be mild. For the commuters, though, you might want to be careful about some areas of reduced visibility with the presence of some fog around. Very early in the morning. After that, as we make our way into the afternoon, that's going to be clearing up and the sun shines through. It'll be warm in the afternoon hours. If we're watching for a pop-up shower or thunderstorm for tomorrow, the highest chance for that will be around eastern Prince Edward Island and the east of Nova Scotia, though something bubbling up outside of that area is also possible. Bruce.
Okay, thank you, sir. Well, one of the most successful coaches in Maritime University sport is calling it a career. Ness Timmins built the CBU women's soccer team from scratch into a perennial winner. But as CTV's Ryan McDonald found out today, his biggest impact might just go beyond the scoreboard.
This program doesn't exist without him.
But today, after 31 seasons and 14 Atlantic University Sport Championships, Stephen Timmins, everyone calls him Ness, told his players he will retire at the end of this season.
Well, it's just time. I've been at it a long time, and it's time for somebody else to take over.
Timmins built the program from the bottom up to become one of the most successful in any university sport in the entire country.
I'm sure some people only came to CBU back in the day because I told them where CBU was and what it was all about. But when we go across the country now, everybody, especially in the soccer circles, has heard about Cape Breton University.
Now, while the soccer pitch here is named after Ness Timmins, his crowning moment as a coach, the best of many, he says, didn't happen here. Rather, it took place on a cold November day back in 2007 in his hometown of New Waterford. That's when the Capers won their lone national title on home turf.
And that was a setup with a lot of backstories to it, but to win the first national championship for the school, you know, you have to remember that.
It's not just how good of a soccer player you are, he really cares about you as a person.
Timmins says he won't be going too far away in retirement. He plans to be here in the stands cheering the girls on.
Well, I'll miss the competitive drive that the girls bring and the energy to compete on the field. I mean, that's what it's about.
That's why he's hoping to add one more banner to the many on the wall here to cap a legendary career. Ryan McDonald, CTV News, Sydney.
Thank you, Ryan. Well, that is your late news for this Tuesday night. I'm Bruce Frisco. Thank you for staying up late with us this evening. If you'd like another look at anything you've seen tonight, CTVNewsAtlantic.ca is always your home for news. Have a good evening. See you again tomorrow.